Whose kids are they, yours or the state's? That is the topic of tonight's Byline. It's a question I keep coming back to and one that parents need to answer again and again. Who do our kids belong to? Now, I know the answer some people would give, hey, they don't belong to anyone. They aren't property. But that's not what I'm getting at here. I'm talking about who is ultimately responsible for what the kids do, what they learn, how they act. Most sensible people would say that parents are, but we already know not everyone is sensible.
And we do work hand in hand with these families because we co-parent.
Now, I'm not showing you that co-parent clip as another chance just to bash Waterloo's school system. I want to wake you up here and talk about what can be done. In that story earlier this year, the Jesse Sansoni story, we had a school system and a justice system working together to see a father arrested, to take away his kids, interrogate his wife, and have him strip searched because his daughter drew a picture of a gun and said something about daddy shooting bad guys. They were justified in their own minds because they felt they were co-parents. In debates over what should be taught in our schools, parents are regularly told not to worry about it. Experts know best. What we've seen across the country, but mostly in Toronto, shows that that's not the case. First, we had the Durham District School Board's language policy telling us terms like husband and wife were too offensive and we should only use partner, that Jewish person was offensive, that Korean was an offensive term. Then we moved on to the Toronto District School Board, a board seemingly obsessed with pushing sex on children. In the past, they've put out resources for teachers telling students to look up images of the Gay Pride Parade on the internet. Now, that's not something I recommend any adult do at work because it's not safe for work, and it's definitely not something I'd recommend any child do. Then there was the news this week of the polygamy poster pushing either polygamy or open marriages on children because, well, we can't tell children who to love. Then there was the veggie sex website. The school board putting up links to a website, a page designed to tell kids where to go to get good information. And then they link to a site that recommends kids to get together with their friends and experiment in all sorts of ways we can't discuss on television, including sex with vegetables. So what's to be done? Do you just sigh like I'm doing now? We talked about this a little while ago. Do you just scream at your TV? No, you can't do that. You need to engage. Let me ask you some questions. Do you know your child's teacher? Do you know your school principal? What about the local school board trustee? You might be thinking, heck, I don't have to worry about this, Lily. I don't live in Toronto. True, but that doesn't mean your school board's not immune to crazy ideas. Across BC, they've already introduced a radical sex ed curriculum. Now they're talking about self-regulation and self-discipline for students. This could include letting students wander where they may, pay attention when they want. Even some advocates have suggested padding the walls of the classroom. So don't think that your school's safe from the latest trendy ideas because you don't live in Toronto. Now, there's several reasons our school systems are allowed to be giant experiments on our children. Part of it is we let it happen. Look, I know you're busy. I know you're tired. I feel the same way, but I also know that if I don't keep an eye out on what's happening in the school system, nutty stuff takes off, whether it's at the provincial level, the board level, or sometimes just the classroom my kids are in. You need to get to know the teacher, you need to know the principal, and you need to know the trustees. Schools and local politics in general, this level of politics, the lowest level, they make some of the biggest decisions that actually affect our daily lives as citizens, and yet they get little attention. People are busy, as I said. The media is focused on the big guys here in Ottawa. But I'm here to tell you you can make a difference. Get to know those people in charge, the ones in charge of your kids' education. Tell your friends and neighbors about some of the craziness. Maybe they don't know about the veggie sex story because they're busy just trying to live their lives because they spend all day maybe they just spend all day trying to catch up on the important celebrity news at TMZ, but maybe they just want to get by and they're not bothered with the news. But if you tell them, they'll know. Doesn't matter what they're doing during the day. I guarantee you they won't like this issue. But you telling your contacts, informing them, contacting the right people at the school, refusing to comply with the insanity can make a difference. You can push back, and we need you to. And that's the byline. Joining me now for further discussion on pushing back and local government is John Gormley. He's the host of Gormley Live on Saskatchewan Radio, CKOM, is it?
It is, and CJME in Regina.
And CJME, I don't want to forget that. Now, John, you've been involved in local politics, you've been involved in federal politics. Everyone looks to the big guys here in Ottawa, to Parliament Hill, just a couple blocks away from where I'm sitting. But, I mean, everything from how our garbage is picked up, the roads we drive on every day, our school system is decided at the local level, and people don't show up to vote in that. They don't care, and I think that's why the radicals get in.
Absolutely, Brian, and you said it so well in your setup. You have a situation where local voter turnout is often never even close to 50%. We lament in federal politics if voter turnout falls below 60. So, you've got, as Tip O'Neill, the old Democrat speaker, said, all politics is local. You're not going to get any more influenced and influential politics in our lives than at City Hall, and particularly on school board politics. These are the people who ultimately oversee the educrats or the education bureaucrats who are educating our children. They're the people. I mean, here in Saskatchewan, we are at the epicenter of the no-zero policy. Our school boards have adopted this in many respects. And again, you talk to trustees, well, oh, no, we don't really have much to say. That's the senior superintendents. No, it's not.
Yeah, that's
school
not
boards
true.
set policy.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
School boards can push back if they get the pushback from the parents, right?
Absolutely. And even good parents stepping up to run for school board. I mean, this is a great opportunity to engage yourself in your community. But you're absolutely right. Even if you don't do that, do you know who your local school trustee is? We laugh about people not knowing who senators are in this country. I think you or I could go into any large city, any small town and say, name me your local school board trustees.
And this is the area that I think that we can have the biggest influence, and it could go a long way to pushing back in the insanity that is the culture. I'd forgotten about the no-zero policy. I was sitting here earlier today trying to think up of all the nuttiness that goes on the school, and so much of it does focus on Toronto because it is a major media center, it is an urban center, but also because they do seem obsessed with creepy sex in children, and that's disturbing. And some of the stuff that comes out of there, I think, is bordering on criminal, and there should be investigations. But the no-zero policy, I think, is detrimental to children because they get into college, university, the trades, a job, and they learn that, what do you mean I actually have to show up and do what I'm told?
Well, absolutely. And then its evil twin is, of course, the no-fail policy. And social promotion is something that, has taken off at a number of school boards. We have it here. You have it in every province in the country in different school districts. And like you said, if you cede or give up your vote to the radicals, they'll put their people in as school trustees. If you're not the mom and dad who come and, as you say, engage with the teacher, engage with the principal, know what's going on in your classroom, then you're going to leave it up to other parents. We had a case here recently where, a relatively new Canadian came and was objecting to the 3 pigs being taught in a really, elementary kindergarten class because he didn't like this talk about pigs and pork. That, fortunately, I think at the school level, a good teacher jumped in and said, this is Canada and we're going to do it that way. But, I'm hearing stories like this on my talk show every day. The parents like you, the parents like me, the vast majority of Canadian parents who really want our teachers to do a great job, and we even accept it takes a village to raise a child. But the village raises the child when the parent reaches out and says, can you help me? The village doesn't have a meeting and decide to come into your home and say, we're going to teach your kids inappropriate sexual stuff. We're going to turn them into a group of slackers because we in the village are a bunch of people who think this way. That's not the village raising the child. That's parents having it taken away from them.
I'll leave you with this, John. It could sound like I'm slapping around teachers here. Definitely not. We had a problem a couple of years ago. The teachers and the principal didn't know about stuff that was coming down. You raise it with them, and they're going, yeah, no, that's not right. Let us fix it. They're often willing to jump in and help you fix it or to push back, but they need to know that you've got their back. John Gormley, thanks for talking to you again, and we'll listen in on the radio. All right.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Email us your thoughts on all of this. Byline@sunmedia.ca. Stick around. We've got more.